What's up, guys? So today I want to talk to you a little bit about the spring quarterly update today. This is the next big anticipated upcoming Guild Wars 2 patch. They revealed this idea of doing these big quarterly updates to us a while ago. We already saw one of them. That was the Winter's update with the Shatter and with Quarteria gliding. Well, today I want to talk about the new one and kind of the catastrophically poorly received trailer they did for it as well, just yesterday I think it was, or 2 days ago that they released this. So if you're feeling a little bit out of the loop, if you're thinking, oh my god, wait, Wooden Potatoes, you're telling me another big patch is coming out? Why don't I know about this? Well, that's because ArenaNet have been very cagey and very hush-hush on the details of this exact patch. That's led a lot of us to believe that it's probably not going to be very big, or it's generally not going to have any big game changes associated with it. So first of all, why is this? Why is it that we haven't heard too much about this patch, even though we know it's coming very soon? Well, Mo, the current game director, actually does have a comment to make on this. He put out this statement just the other day. He says, "Hi all, 2 weeks ago I posted that we were starting integration and final testing for the spring quarterly update." He says it's been a busy 2 weeks. The quarterly update is through QA and looking good. We're going to announce the release date tomorrow. He says, as we prep for release, you'll notice that we're not doing the series of advanced blog posts that we had done for some prior releases. Hopefully that's not too surprising. I've written a few times since taking this role that I think our job is to delight you with what we ship, not with talk and promises. With everything prepared now, let's have some fun together and see some hints of what's coming, and then we'll see you in the game on release day. So Mike has expressed to us multiple times that he genuinely believes in putting the content out rather than talking about the content. Funnily enough, this is how they did with Guild Wars 1. The understanding here then is that the patch comes out, we get the patch notes, and it's then that we hear from the devs why the changes have been made and kind of some of their philosophy behind it, rather than in the blog post beforehand. I think when they did the blog post beforehand, it was kind of nice. It allowed us, the community, to see the changes. And you might think, well, okay, Wooden Potato, surely that's better, because if ArenaNet are looking to make a terrible change, these blog posts come out and then the community can react to it, and then, you know, ArenaNet don't put the change in. And that's a lovely idea in the perfect world, but let's seriously look at how things have gone. Actually, in actuality, that's never really happened. ArenaNet have announced some kind of a change before a big patch on a blog post. The community may have seen a problem with it. That problem may have been a serious problem, it may not have been. But in either world, in either case, ArenaNet has never really had the time to listen to that feedback and generate an entirely new build out of it and listen to it early. You know, look at any number of controversies, shall we say, over the past, like the colored commander tag system and so on, that ArenaNet basically haven't been able to respond to that kind of thing. So I think it's okay. I do definitely applaud Mike for sticking to his guns here on the idea of let's just ship it, let's not talk about too much until it's actually there. And hopefully, you know, ArenaNet aren't going to go crazy astray with massive, ridiculous changes. All of that said, there is still a lot of information hanging loose, floating around from way back when Colin left, and we had that Ask Me Anything, and so many devs were involved there, coming out with so many quotes. Despite what Mike's saying here, and despite how little ArenaNet have talked, there's been a fantastic job done by the community, actually. You guys should be seeing a Reddit post here. There'll be a link in it to the in the description, where people have actually got together and tried to list out as many things as we think ArenaNet are at least looking at, and with sources. So if you have a look at this list here, we've got, a section on particle effects and the fact that they are hoping to add particle effect options in the future. And if you actually go to the source, you can verify that and see how solid that information really is. You've got the Heart of Thorns stuff and, the fact that we know generally in this update, we're going to be seeing a lot more adventures open to people. We're going to see a lot of hero points become soloable. And this can really help us narrow in exactly what the patch is. Don't forget, I think the core theme here, and the devs have always been clear about this, is that it is a patch designed specifically to bring Heart of Thorns closer to the core philosophies of Guild Wars 2. You see, in many places, many of us should be more than familiar with this, Heart of Thorns is doing things very differently to how the core game did, with the way it structures its content, its meta events, the cyclical and timed nature of the metas in the Heart of Thorns regions. These are forcing people to play large amounts of time, not feel rewarded for any amount of time that they could invest. And I think that where Heart of Thorns is so small, because ArenaNet didn't get things quite right with their meta events, it's suddenly really, really, really punishing. So this is the theme of the patch. Bring Heart of Thorns stuff more to what Guild Wars 2 is supposed to be about, and that's going to mean reducing grind. More specifics, though, as to, for example, whether this means we're going to see reduced vendor prices while we're out in the jungle and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff we don't have exact ideas on just yet. But yeah, so if you really want the nitty-gritty there, you guys can check that thread out. But the main thing I want to talk about in this video is not just poring over old random little dev comments, but actually some of the more explicit things that ArenaNet and NCSoft have been doing to advertise the fact this patch exists over the past 48 hours or so. So there's a handful of tweets, and also there is a teaser trailer. So let's start with the teaser trailer. You guys should have been seeing already a little bit of that footage going on in the background, and there is not a massive amount. So you might think, yeah, awesome, okay, cool, ArenaNet did a teaser trailer advertising the patch. Surely that's a good idea, wouldn't it? Well, yes, except they do seem to have botched it a little bit. I think in total, this teaser is really living up to its namesake as a teaser. It is 11 seconds long. Now, a lot of people really don't like this. The YouTube video itself is a lot longer than the 11 seconds of actual footage, because what ArenaNet kind of do, I think just as a system, as a general rule of thumb, is whenever they produce a trailer or something for Guild Wars 2, or Heart of Thorns, as it's been more recently, they have, like, their intro stuff, and then they fade that out. Then finally you get the bulk of the trailer, and then it ends with a fade to black, and then they have, like, their end slate stuff, and they have their stuff with, you know, buy Heart of Thorns on the screen. And they've done the exact same thing with this trailer, but that means that the majority of the video is ArenaNet basically throwing a thing at you saying, buy Heart of Thorns, and you know, with just all this delayed nonsense, basically, that people don't want to watch, and then it's just this tiny little slice of actually interesting stuff in the middle. Now, to be fair, this is a teaser for the patch. It's not a trailer for the patch, and there is a big difference for that. A teaser in the cinema industry, at least in the film industry, we find a teaser will be something very, 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 very short, just a couple of seconds to tease you, and is wholly different from a trailer, and that is basically what ArenaNet did here, but it doesn't show much, and I don't think that sits particularly well with people combined with everything else we've already been saying in this video, how they've been so cagey about information. I think that blew back on them a little bit. In fact, let's have a look at some of the comments, shall we? You guys have to pause if you want to read all of the ones I've thrown up on screen. Good thing it was over 30 seconds, says K Shadowrun, or you wouldn't be able to monetize it. Frickin' joke, eh, says RPG Goodness. Please tell me this is a late April Fool's joke, otherwise, what the fuck, sigh. Some people, of course, then, you know, just being your typical angry YouTube commenter, but other people putting a little bit more thought into their comments here. This sneak peek literally tells us nothing, ArenaNet. We see views of mostly meaningless aesthetic junk, which has nothing to do with the content subject. And, to put the cream on the top, the actual sneak peek we see is only 11 seconds. This general sentiment, both on the official Guild Wars 2 YouTube channel version of the trailer and the 10-ton hammer one, is basically exactly the same. Just it really didn't work very well for them, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we never see a trailer like this ever again. You know, they've got to bulk it out, or at least package it slightly differently. To talk about what we actually see, we're getting an early look at the short bow, which we know is coming in this patch. We get a look at what would appear to be the legendary back piece, as this is finally going to be coming into the game. And then we get a bunch of, like, reused footage from other areas of the game that we already know about and have already exist, but nonetheless looks kind of cool. So, really didn't go down with people too well. I'll play it as slowly as possible, really drag it out so you guys can see in the background, but do savor what little you can, I guess. I do think it's a bit of a shame. I mean, ArenaNet should be able to just throw out some little bits of footage of the patch and not get hated on for it, but just that combination of having it on such a long video with this stuff at the start and the end as well, it just looks a bit tacky, right? It's like, here's a couple of seconds of something. Buy Heart of Thorns, please, buy Heart of Thorns. Yeah, not too good there. All right, so what else has there been? Well, there was a tweet, something new. Those Rangers out there will be very happy about this. I've been playing a fair amount of Ranger recently, continuing along with the 0 to Hero challenge, where we get from an absolute nothing account to being raid ready, and this is a change to the sword auto attack. This is quite the long story, I suppose. Ever since the launch of Guild Wars 2, Ranger sword autos have been a very peculiar skill chain, in that they root your position as a ranger, they'll move you around quite violently, and without very, very specific timing and control and understanding how that auto attack rotates into the second and third skill on the chain, a lot of rangers struggle. It is not an intuitive auto attack chain to use, especially compared to everything else in the game, and it would most frequently cause people to go flying off away from the target they actually wanted to hit, or in more uncommon circumstances, but still enough to happen to most of us, we'll throw ourselves off of a cliff edge or something and accidentally kill ourselves just because this auto attack chain was so clunky. ArenaNet have always resisted changing this, and I guess there's two arguments for not changing it. Number one is flavor. If you just change the Ranger Sword auto attack to a generic kind of very free-moving, very standard auto attack, the sword weapon in general loses a lot of flavor. See, the 2 as well is another skill that's quite, movement-based and sort of roots you and then pulls you back, and then you can chain into another one on the 2, very similar. The 3 moves your character a lot. It's kind of like a big theme of the way that all 3 of those skills work on the weapon, and to listen to the community and change this because people are throwing themselves off cliffs might remove a bit of the flavor and identity of what the sword is. That's one argument. It's a particularly weak one in my opinion. The other argument is more of a technical animation-based thing, which I think is far more likely the reason we haven't seen this been changed. But now, with this patch, they have just tweeted out somebody using the Ranger sword autos, and though mechanically it does the same stuff, it is a completely different feeling skill where you do have that free motion. It feels very much like any other class, like a warrior using an axe or a greatsword or a thief using his daggers and so on. And Rangers get a lot of quality of life of this. I am not surprised by the amount of posts I've seen with people saying, wow, I'm going to go back to my Ranger. And that's quite nice considering it also comes hand in hand with the patch where the Ranger gets a new legendary weapon it can use as well, because of course the new legendary is short bow, and only Ranger and Thief are actually getting advantage of that. So yeah, this is kind of like the Ranger patch. Pretty minor to those of us who play other classes, but I do think it's important. And finally, just a matter of hours ago, before I produced this video, ArenaNet had another tweet showing off probably the coolest thing of the entire patch, and something that I highly question why on earth it didn't appear in the teaser trailer. So what did I just say to you? What have you been watching? Look at this teaser trailer. There's nothing in it. There's no substance in it. And yet, it seems this patch is actually bigger than you may have first expected. After all, this patch seems to have a new area being added to the game. So this is the tweet here, as you guys can see. This is, it comes with a description saying, welcome to the Lion's Arch Aerodrome. Oh, okay, so for those of you who don't know what this is, back last year, around this time last year, Lion's Arch was repaired from its sorry, sad state and became New Lion's Arch, Fortress Lion's Arch ready for battle and protected against the likes of other people such as Scarlet Briar. When they did this, they added a giant airship base out near the portals that you use to get to the mist and the various PvP formats and things in the game. And much like the guild headquarters, once upon a time were, it seemed like an area that the devs had added to the game world that later on we'd actually be able to travel and explore. So remember, this patch that fixed Lion's Arch came long before Heart of Thorns did. So when it came in, my first impression of the Lion's Arch Aerodrome was it was this cool place we were looking at, and in the Heart of Thorns story, we would explore it, and you know, it would become a part of the plot. Just as I believed that the wedding area that was added to Lion's Arch would probably also be a part of the Heart of Thorns story. Well, yeah, then Heart of Thorns releases, and it turns out they didn't bother doing any story outside of the jungle maps at all. And at that point, I thought, oh, well, never mind. It's probably in a couple of months we'll get Living World Season 3, and the Aerodrome and the wedding and that kind of stuff, that'll probably all happen in Living World Season 3. That's fine. That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to going there. Always looked like a very exciting place. If you guys think back to the original trailer they did when they rebuilt Lion's Arch, it actually featured an airship flying out of the Aerodrome, something we don't, as far as I understand, actually see happen in-game. It was this really cool shot. Just the idea of an aerodrome and airship base has always been very exciting to me. Maybe it ties somehow into my roots of playing Final Fantasy XII, where there were aerodromes in all the different places, and it was some kind of fast travel system. But suffice it to say, this was an exciting looking place. Then a few months rolled by and Living World didn't come. Then a few months more rolled by and Living World didn't come. And still, now we are waiting for Living World for, it basically looks like almost a year after Heart of Thorns came out. Living World, make no mistake, does not seem to be coming with this patch. So what is this? It seems that they've used the aerodrome for something else. Maybe once upon a time it was going to be a part of Heart of Thorns story. Maybe once upon a time it was going to be a part of Living World. But now perhaps they've just decided to scrap some of that stuff because clearly they've been having issues with getting Living World out and they're using it for something else. So what do we see here on this image? Yes, you guys can discern that quite clearly. It's a portal. It's not just a portal from one map to another. That is quite obviously a raid portal. So popular theory at the moment is that this is going to be a lobby for entering raids. And why do we say this? Well, again, think back to the theme of this patch. It's generally about improving Heart of Thorns stuff, about bringing Heart of Thorns content more in line with the rest of Guild Wars 2. One of the problems that came about once they started releasing raid content was people in Verdant Brink would all be banding together trying to complete the meta event, but because a new raid wing just came out, this happened with both Spirit Veil and Salvation Pass, both of which have the same entrance, the Forsaken Thicket in Verdant Brink. With both of these, you know, you'd get big zergs of people, and you still do, standing around, doing nothing, not contributing to the meta event, taking up valuable player slots in the mega server. Everyone who plays Guild Wars 2 is well aware that there's a max player cap, and, you know, you could have up to 50 people doing nothing, just standing there. It was something people complained about a lot, especially when the raids first began. And ArenaNet did say that they were looking into some kind of a lobby system. So this could be that. This is on theme with the patch. It stops people being angry with each other. This is now, in theory, where we go to enter raids. The theme of the place would be that you fly on these airships all around the world. And it kind of means that the Lion's Arch Aerodrome would be something akin to Guild Wars 1's Embark Beach. Embark Beach being an outpost specifically added to that old game with access to all the different missions in the world so that people could meet up for LFG and, you know, it would facilitate partying together, which is something that raids could take a lot of advantage of too. So that's the current belief. I would love to sit here and say to you guys that I believe it's something more than that. That this Lion's Arch Aerodrome is actually going to be a cool new little story instance. It's not Living World, but it's, you know, it's one of the cool little setups for the Living World that we're now getting because the Legendary team are working on something else, or that there's going to be more to it. Maybe there will be, but I would keep my expectations a little in check. I'm just happy that there's a new place to explore. Full stop at the moment, because I really didn't think this patch would be bringing anything of that nature. And that's about it, really. The teaser trailer does reveal to us that the patch is coming April 19th. So, yeah, that is literally next Tuesday. It's going to be the same time as the PvP season ends. It's going to be the removal of SAB, and it's going to be this new stuff going in there. Hopefully, this does encourage people to play a lot more Heart of Thorns stuff. I know that the expansion could definitely use it. And hopefully in the future, ArenaNet have found their feet a little more with how to actually market these patches, because I think they've got a little bit of egg on their face from the spring update teaser there. A nice idea, just throw out some little bit of footage for people, but not really packaged in the best way possible, I'd say. Anyway, there you go, guys. If you feel like I missed anything, do let me know in the comments. And also do check out, again, in the description, that link, which will give you the wonderful Reddit thread where you can get a little bit more of a taste of what is to come. And I'll be back on Tuesday with the full patch notes for you guys. Don't forget, a lot of skill balance should be coming as well to let people practice for the next PvP season. And overall, hopefully we should have a good time. So we'll see. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, powerful message. Oh, look at the machine, guys. It's activating. Looks kind of like maybe the technology they used to build the sphere pools. Look at it, it's gorgeous. What you have to realize, someone spent a lot of time building that and animating that and making it look a specific way. It looks like some kind of Ori or something, some representation of the planets around, as well as Spear. Is that Spear in the middle? Remember Vegnagun? The cocoon that Vegnagun had, and it had that weird metallic disc around it? Doesn't that look like that?